Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's start with defense attorney. Ready? Here we go. Yes, the years approximately. That may include the entire time that you've been there. I worked out of Ramsey for the last 4 shifts, and probably 2 of those shifts I worked with Gary Black in about May of 2000, about May 10th, 2009. Did you ever respond to a home invasion robbery of that sort on Rose Drive? Yes. And what was your role on that night? First, I was perimeter with the long gun. You were what? I was assigned to a perimeter position with a long rifle. And at any point, did you end up going inside the residence later on that evening? I did. Were you ever responsible for any searches? No, sir. Did you transport anybody away from that scene as far as an arrest? Officer Black and his trainee made the arrest, but I did transport for them. And if you remember, do you remember the person who you transported? No. Okay. As far as the name, yes. No. Okay. Now that night, did it ever come to your attention that a woman's scarf was draped on any part of your uniform? Yes. And do you remember how many bedrooms or the layout of the residence on Rose at all? Vaguely, I do. Do you remember where you were in the apartment when you discovered the scarf? Just inside the front door, and I believe as you go in the kitchen to the left and the living area is to the right. It was somewhere in that general area. Okay. At that time, did you know who draped the scarf on your uniform or holster? No. Where was the scarf on your person? It was hanging off my gun. Okay. And what did you do with the scarf? Put a glove on and dropped it right where I was standing. Okay. While you were there, did you ever see a dartboard? No. Did you ever place the scarf up on the wall or on a dartboard? No. Did you ever see that occur? No. Thank you. In about the summer of 2010 in the city of Layton, did you ever come across a woman who identified herself to you as Linda? I don't remember the exact date, but yes, I do. Was it around in the summer or fall of 2010 in that general time frame? What were the circumstances? What were you doing? What was she doing when you had contact with her? I was driving southbound on Arrow from 4th on the north side. She was standing in the middle of the road on Arrow. And did you make contact with her while she was standing in the middle of the road? Yes. Did you make any comments to her? Yes. What did you tell her? Get out of the road. Did she respond to you? Yeah. She asked me who I was. What did you tell her? I told her I was the police. She make any other comments to you at that time? Yes. And what did she tell you? She said she'd never seen me before. She'd been on the north side a long time and asked me my name. Did she ever inform you that she had had contact with Gary Black? She did. Okay, yes. It's very important that you just answer the questions that I ask. Yes, sir, and I want you to listen to the question very carefully and just answer the question. Did she make any comments to you regarding Gary Black and her making money? Yes. What did she tell you? I don't know her exact words, but she said something to the effect of, I'm going to make money off of Gary. Thank you. During the course of your work as a police officer, are you required to make arrests of all individuals who have committed misdemeanors? No. Do you arrest everyone that has committed a misdemeanor? No. So do you understand that you have discretion? Yes. Are you required to arrest everybody who is under the influence of controlled substance? No. Just one moment, Your Honor. All right. Thank you, officer. Nothing further, Your Honor. Cross-examination. Very briefly, if I could just have a moment, Your Honor. Certainly. Just a moment, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, Your Honor. Could we come to sidebar very briefly? Judge, we don't need the reporter. All right. Sorry about that, officer. We were trying to locate a report that was taken by the defense investigator when he spoke to you recently. You did speak to him recently? The investigator? Yes. As in recent, like today? No, I mean within the last month or 2. I don't believe so. When did you give that information back over to the defense? Actually, I gave it to Gary Black when I helped him move, and when I guess he gave it to his investigator and called me up shortly thereafter. How long ago was that? Right after I talked to her. When was that? Last year sometime. It was after he got put on leave and when he was let go. So is it your statement today that defense has had that information for a year? I gave it to Gary. Objection, no foundation. Objection, no foundation. Overruled. You may answer the question. I gave it to Gary shortly after I got it. From what he did with it from there, I don't know. Can we be heard sidebar very briefly with the court reporter? Not at this time. You helped Gary Black move? I did. Okay, when was that? Whenever he moved out of his house last year. Okay. Or, yeah, it was late last year, early this year. It would be safe to say you guys are friends. Yes. I mean, close enough that you helped the guy move. Yes. Right. Other officers present helping him move. There were several planned, but a lot of guys had stuff come up, so I was the only one that showed up. Okay, how long did you work with Gary Black? Probably about a year, I think, before. I was down in Maine for a while. When I came up to Ramsey, he was working there maybe a year before I went down. Officer, I have a quiet voice sometimes. You have one too. I have a cold. I'm sorry. That's all right. I feel your pain. Would you just move the microphone a little bit closer? Thank you, sir. Is that better? Yeah, thank you. All right. I want to go through some different things, and I'm going to start with you going over to that address on Rose, okay? Yes, sir. All right. You would agree with me that you weren't there for very long, right? Not terribly long time, no. When you say terribly long time, are we talking hours? Maybe an hour. I would be surprised if I was there even 2 hours, hour to 2 hours. Okay, you were interviewed, right, by Detective Lewis? Yes. And Detective Byers was also there? I believe so. Okay, do you remember when you talked to them that you said that you were only there for 10 to 15 minutes? No. Would it maybe refresh your memory if I showed you a copy of the report? It would. I would be surprised if I said that. Okay, may I approach, Your Honor? You may. Page 4, counsel. Oh, inside the apartment. I thought we were talking on scene total. All right, let's talk about that. Okay, on scene total, you were there for maybe an hour to an hour and a half in that ballpark. That's because your role in that situation was to provide cover. Is that right? Yes. But inside the apartment, you were only there for 10-15 minutes. I wasn't there very long. At the most 15 minutes, yes. All right. And how long were the other officers in there for? Do you know? No. Okay, it's true, sir. You left that apartment prior to Sue Vincent, right? Yes. Prior to Officer Long? Yes. And prior to Gary Black? Yes. So you have no idea what happened in that apartment? I mean, you can't tell us anything that happened in that apartment once you left. That true? That is true. Did you hear any recordings about what happened in that apartment? Personally listen to the recordings? Yes. No. See any video or anything like that? No. But while you were in the apartment for 10 to 15 minutes, you did see a young lady that was sitting in a chair. Is that right? Yes. And you saw a number of different people talking to her. She wasn't being talked to just by one person. Is that true? Like interviewed or just general talking? Being talked to? I don't understand that. I mean, I saw people talking to her, but I don't know. Okay, there was several people coming by and a lot of people talking. I don't know if they were only talking to her. Okay, all right. Do you see her responding? Did you see her responding? She spoke, I believe. Did you see any while you were there for only 10 to 15 minutes? Did you see any syringes found? No. I want to now talk. Well, when you were being interviewed by Detective Byers and Detective Lewis, you knew it was about your friend Gary Black, right? Yes. You knew there was a woman making an accusation about him, right? Yes. You must have, sir, brought up this whole thing about Linda saying she was going to get money from Gary. It was after the interview. Okay, well, you said that it was in May, right? That stuff happened with Linda? No, misstates the testimony. What did you say? When did you say it was? Hold on, overrule. The answer no will stand. When did you say that was? Sometime between after he was put on leave and before he got terminated. Okay, all right. I was confused. Sorry. When you talked to Linda, you said that you stopped your car. I stopped, yes. Okay, and then you began a conversation with her, right? I told her to get out of the road, kind of went to a conversation after that. And did you get out of the car? No. So this was just kind of, how long did the conversation last? Couple minutes maybe. When you told her to get out of the road, what did she say? She asked me if I recognized her, or she asked me my name. I think she asked me my first name and asked if I recognized her, if I knew who she was. Okay, sir, now I know that you told the information that you told us about Linda to Gary Black, but you also had a conversation with his investigator. Do you remember that over the phone? Yes. And you knew who his investigator was, right? You knew that he was representing Gary Black. Oh, yes, assisting in his defense, yes, right? And as his friend and as someone, a police officer who wants justice, right? Is that a yes? Yes. You want to give all the facts, everything that you could remember to the investigator to help in your friend's defense, right? Well, it is what it is. It's a fact and it happened, so that's why I gave it to him. Okay, my question to you, officer, is you want to give all the facts? Yes. Right? Yes. Now, when you talked to Jim Andrews, his investigator, do you remember that name? Yes, that was in March of this year. Is that about fair to say? Yeah, I guess it would be. I don't remember the dates, but towards the beginning of the year, I believe. Okay, okay. And in March, would you say that your memory of the events that dealt with Linda was fresher in your mind than today, or about the same? About the same. Well, when you talked to Jim Andrews and you were helping your friend's defense and getting all the facts out, it is what it is, right? Do you recall simply stating that you related that she needed to get out of the street, and she replied to you, I have nowhere to go and I have no money. Objection, improper impeachment as phrased, sustained. All right, we'll stop there. That will conclude our Q&A practice.